Okay.
Hello everyone, welcome to Equinox League Week 2 of Season 2, our first game of IGNI and ELG. I'm joined today by CJ and John J. Feel free to introduce
Hello.
yourself.
Yeah, I'll start. I guess. Hello. I'm making my return to the EQ caster desk. I was supposed to be on last week, but didn't quite make it. But I'm glad to be here now and ready to do a good old 3-game tricast today.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've been on the EQ desk. Last time was the last season finals with AMG and IGNI. I believe we have IGNI on the Rift starting up for us again for us today, going up against ELG. But I'm excited to get stuck back into the action. Since I've been away for just a little bit of time, can somebody give me a brief rundown of just the state of the league right now?
I think that's one for you, Tom.
The state of the league as in the standings or just how we're all doing?
Generally, I think.
Whatever feels relevant. What are you feeling?
Get everyone up to date.
Of course, had our first week. Nothing really spectacular happening. It's just 2 games, but a lot of new faces in the league. We've got a multitude of new teams being PogChimp, Fuzzy, Vanguard, Need a Name, ELG, and Royal Reapers, which is rebranded Team Abandoned. So a lot of new teams, and 3 teams with a 2-0 start last week, 2 of which are IGNI and ELG, which we have today. I think that's the most relevant stuff we have.
Yeah, I'd say at least something has been a repeat from last split, where IGNI has taken top of the standings again. And I'd say a mix-up is that AMG have gone 0-2 in their first week and aren't looking as hot as you might expect. Though, of course, the AMG roster has taken a bit of a shake-up since their winning split, and some things have changed there. But at least IGNI are still looking up to try to have a good regular season, and are at least now getting challenged by a team like ELG Diversity, who are very new to the league and generally new faces on that team.
Yeah, I'm glad to see IGNI picking themselves up after that final summit last season and coming back as the dominant force that we all expected them to be. They do have, of course, some new members as far as I can tell as well. I believe Agent Lightbulb is new to them this split, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure which team he was on last split.
Well, Agent Lightbulb.
Hmm.
I can't actually remember, but I remember seeing him play a lot. I think he was
Abandoned. I think maybe.
I think Abandoned. Something tells me he was on Venoshock, but I might be completely off on that.
That was Bounce.
Oh yeah, Bounce was VNSAD.
Yeah.
Oh, Nox. Cool.
Nox,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, chat. Good job on chat for knowing the league better than the casters do. That's honestly great.
He was always very impressive to me last season as well, though, so I'm not surprised to see that he's made his way onto a team with a power level like Ignis. I imagine he will be exactly what they need to fill up that bottom lane. Going up against ELG, given that, as you said, both these teams are 2-0 right now, do you have any early predictions just based on what you've seen so far in terms of who do you think will have the edge? Any maybe a particular lane that will be in one team's favor?
I think looking at it just from the 2 games that we've seen these teams play, I think the bot lane for IGNI is probably where they're like most favored. I think Agent Lightbulb and Iroh are both very experienced players, and they have a genuine large amount of games in their respective roles, and they know their way around their lanes. But Chelsu is kind of newly. I mean, Chelsu's always kind of played AD, but he's been a mid main for a long time. He used to be sub mid for like Rivals or in Rivals for Pirates a year ago, and I think only recently he swapped to playing mostly AD, and he hasn't exactly found the most consistent success on that role compared to when he played mid lane. So I think him adapting is going to be like quite big, and in these early stages of the league, I think IGNI will have the advantage in the bot lane matchup based on that.
Tom, any thoughts on that particular, that long the analysis?
I mean, the bot. I know if Iroh's come back and he's been. He had a strong performance last week playing, I think, Sivir Zillion bot lane, and it was Sivir something again. They just really like Sivir. I'd expect, if anything, a Sivir ban to come out from the side of ELG. Hope I'm not spoiling the draft right here. But other than that, like Iroh's been on the Zillion. I know he can play many other enchanters and perhaps some engage too. But I think the meta is shifting towards those enchanter supports, which me and John J absolutely love. So let's see if those come out today. And I know
Yeah.
Iroh's got some good Enchanter gameplay.
Yeah, it probably will be Enchanter gameplay. It seems like from the games that they've played, both in solo queue but also in EQ here, Iroh has been like very, I'd say low impact to an extent in direct statistics. He doesn't have a very high crowd control score, but he's been trying to like have an impact through vision. But I feel like Smirk has been doing more just in the sense of having a lot more CC than Iroh has. But I think we have two mage support players here who both seem to have a tendency to play for KDA, and I kind of want to see them get more scrappy and get amongst themselves. But again, we can't really predict. I think the most likely is that we'll see a mage matchup though, coming out from both teams.
That would be nice to see. Obviously, picks like the Karma and the Lux are super prevalent on this patch. You mentioned the Sivir as well. It seems to be pretty much the most consistent ADC pick on this patch, at least. It just doesn't really seem to have any bad matchups. Scales well, performs well in lane. As we do get into Champ Select right now, it will be IGNI starting off the bans. Who has a suggested ban that you think we will see? I know that we saw things like Sabbath would have the Vlad always taken away from him, 1995 playing it as well. But what do you think is going to get taken off the table early here?
I reckon, considering again that we've been talking about lane matchups, I feel like something like Yuumi needs to go because she is kind of, I mean, she is a stable perm ban in almost any kind of way you play the game. But if she doesn't go away, I'm expecting something like the Sivir, because as we mentioned, IGNI has been kind of keen on picking Sivir with some kind of Enchanter support, and also we have to note that the teams each have lost a ban because of being late, so that is why we won't see a first ban here from ELG, assuming IGNI won't ban their third pick.
There is the Vladimir coming off, and the Lux as well, probably that super strong mage support being taken away. Chelsea's Xayah also taken off the table, so likely to remove a Rakan pick as well, though we can see them unpaired, I think, more often than in previous patches and months maybe. The Rakan can come out on its own to still be a strong force if you want an engage from that support line. So as you say, we'll see this ban timer running out for IGNI, and then we will see what ELG wants to do to round out their second ban of this first phase. We've had the Vlad ban, the standard. Potentially, do you think we're going to go to the bot lane, maybe to a jungler or another solo laner, maybe?
Well, we don't have the Karma. Yeah, so it has been like the go-to mage supports in the game right now are kind of Lux, Karma, and then Yuumi still being open. So okay, first pick mod. I actually want to go straight to that because that's a really, really big flex pick. I'm gonna just straight up assume it's going top lane, but it can genuinely be swapped to every single lane, and I really want to see them do something kind of flexible with it and not just lock it in and be like, okay, this is top lane, and then they just decide on that. I want to see hopefully flexible drafting from IGNI here, as Yumi's being hovered by ELG, and this is probably going to be a lane like, I think, yeah, Yuumi Sivir is just given away, which is peculiar to say the least.
I think it seems like they're just picking the strongest champions available to them, right?
Yeah, that's one thing, but it's also a Sivir pick away from IGNI. It saves you a ban, and the fact you get it yourself is, I think, a very good trade, especially with the Yuumi there. It's very safe, but also potent bot lane. Very good scaling on the Sivir, of course. We've seen Sivers with the 400 CS power spike.
As the rest of the support main, who do you think is likely to be picked up in the bot lane for IGNI? What do you feel like has a good chance of affecting the Sivir Yuumi lane in a positive way?
What do you reckon, Tom?
As in what Iroh would play? I think Zilean, simply. Like you can play the lane out safely, it doesn't really lose to anything, it won't die, it can speed up your entire team.
Yep, there it is.
It has been a pick that he's been favoring, but yeah, the issue here is that IGNI have kind of banned themselves out in terms of getting an equally oppressive bot lane, because the other go-tos that you have is running either a Karma lane, which ELG bans out, or you need to run Lux Caitlyn. But as IGNI have banned out the Lux themselves, they are now put in a position where Cillian is not the most optimal matchup. I feel like Sivir actually does kind of well into him, but Cillian is more so the Tahm Kench of mage support. He just kind of sits in lane, doesn't really do much, and just gets to scale, and he gets to be an AD carry enabler. So I'm assuming ELG need to look for AD carry bans here, because they need to give IGNI less champions to pick around and less champions for Cillian to synergize with.
I feel like Zilean might just be an everyone enabler in this case. Like, you can speed up your Mordekaiser to get into the fight, you can speed up your Sejuani to get where he needs to be, depending on what they round out the comp with in mid lane. Like, he can enable everyone, and if this game doesn't... It depends on the scaling from both sides at this point, who picks the better late game overall.
I remember seeing Asian Lightbulb playing a super mean Lucian in previous seasons. I'm not sure how he stacks up against Sivir Yumi particularly, but I know that like Zillion and Lucian is definitely a lane that can have a strong effect using that speed up, and once you get a nice bomb setup, can go very aggressive with the ultimate to help you out there. The Caitlyn does get taken away as well, just to remove any chance of that high range. They have gone to those ADC bans, taken away the Kai'Sa and the Caitlyn, and it's actually mid laners or potentially top laners if you look at the Sylas there that have been taken away by IGNI, taken away Orianna and Sylas from Sovnix and maybe from Schwerf as well.
Yeah, Silas ban is really weird. He's one of the least seen just generally champions in the game right now. He's been hit so hard with nerfs.
Ooh.
Okay,
Hello.
I'm gonna stop that entire point. We have a Riven lock-in for ELG, which comes out of the blue. The draft genuinely confusing me here because they've gone for a really, really highly oppressive bot lane, and then they've gone for a complete 50-50 champ with Riven potentially trying to play that into Mordekaiser, but I don't really see how Riven is supposed to do much of anything into mod, but I'm hoping you guys can maybe try to elaborate on why that might make sense for them.
Well, the Riven, I mean, technically it's a flex pick. You can put it in mid and top. But mainly anything that has good consistent DPS against the Mordekaiser can do well. Something like a Jax. I've not particularly seen Riven being played into it, but after 6, there should be kill pressure from the Riven. There's too much like consistent damage and burst damage to come out for the Mordekaiser to play around his passive, play around his shield. And into Irelia, he's going to have a hard time if they put the Riven there.
Yeah, now it's become kind of a game of who's going where in terms of the solo laners. I guess we will have to wait for this last lock-in to see what ELG kind of bites on and what they expect be the lock-in here. And it will be Akali, so we can definitely assume Akali's going to go mid and we'll have a Riven top lane, but we should wait and see exactly what the solo lane matchups will be. In the meantime, I want to quickly touch on the jungle matchup, if you guys don't mind. I had something prepared for that.
Oh damn, lay it on us, dude.
Go on.
Okay, so from looking at stats, it's very, very clear to us that both of these junglers have been performing really well for their teams, but they have two completely opposite playstyles. Makina seems to be what I refer to as a slank, meaning he is a tank slave. He can literally, or he is forced into a situation where he only picks tanks and he plays exclusively for his laners. He himself and his ability to farm the jungle doesn't really matter to his team. They want to be supported and they want to have kind of ganks whenever possible. While on the other side, the ELG jungler seems to be a lot more focused on trying to go for invades and generally trying to play for himself and trying to set himself up to be a carry, which the team also, they draft around everyone possibly being a threat, and there's no one who's like a nobody champ like a Sejuani, because Sejuani doesn't solo carry games. She just kind of enables everyone to do it, but with the ELG comp, everyone can carry. So I'm hoping Forshaw kind of plays a lot for invading, and he has to play vertical jungling and try to establish a lead over Makina, and then he has to look for I think he has to camp a lane, and he has to play vertical to Makina, so because he doesn't win the matchup 1v1. Like Kayn doesn't beat Sejuani at any stage really.
Does seem that Kayn is just matching up. If you look at the top mid and junglers from the side of ELG, there's a lot of similarities in terms of the way these champions are going to be playing, depending, of course, what Kayn decides to take, what form. And then the Riven and the Akali, there's so much split push potential there. They do have the triple teleport, as is fairly standard at this stage. And I think that they're either going to be grouping up to really just try and bully circle 5v5, or so not 5v5, like 5v3 maybe, and just catch you out with the Sivir ultimate, go full engage onto you, catch you out, coming with Kayn coming through the wall, Riven coming over the wall, and then just trying to pick you off and run you down. Or they are going to go full split push and just run you around the map and just pull you from one side to the other, where IGNI has drafted somewhat of a team fighting comp with like the Varus and the Sejuani. Zillion's able to support them up very well. Aurelia can do a lot of damage in those fights, but I think that the side of IGNI just has enough tools to deal with what ELG is bringing to them with the Zillion ultimate particularly. I really like that pick going up against the team comp that ELG have built for themselves. And then Mordekaiser is just kind of a wild card. We'll have to see how he goes up against this Riven. I don't think he's been around long enough for people to know the matchups inside and out, but I'm interested to see who's able to take an advantage on this top lane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Tom. Sorry.
Overall, like just an entirely interesting comp from ELG, where indeed the entire top side of the map is similar in a way, and it's, from my solo queue experience, a very unenjoyable time to play against Kayn Yuumi. Kayn will definitely go red Kayn. You cannot kill a red Kayn with a Yuumi on it, but at the same time they don't really have other champions around that really support the team fight. It's more so looking like a 1-3-1 or a need pick. But IGNI has the tools to just like run it down in your face. There's a zillion speed at Sejuani running at you. I'm not sure if you can disengage that, even a Sivir Yuumi.
No, I feel like, yeah, the lack of disengage is really big, and I also feel like with the comp IGNI have drafted, if they do a 5-man force, they have a really, really smart engage plan where there's definitely a lack of frontline on the side of ELG. The one frontliner they will end up having is a red Kayn, depending on how hard he kind of gets to establish himself in the game. But with a Mordekaiser, there's nothing stopping IGNI from Cillian speeding. Like, let's just make an example. Cillian presses E on Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser runs up, ults the frontliner, and then the rest of the team just go for a 4v4 and they win because there's no frontline, and then it's an entirely squishy carry comp versus a pretty well-rounded team of both utility and damage.
So who won the draft? That is the question.
Who won the draft? Yeah. I'm thinking, I don't know if I like any of the drafts particularly more than the other. I mean, the drafts aren't bad. Let me get that clear. I don't think any of the drafts are necessarily bad. I think one of the teams is drafting like they're playing in a 5 versus 5 coordinated game with comms, that being IGNI, and then ELG are drafting like, we want to be high tempo, we want to be cool, and we want to play. I mean, they've gone for the biggest cock bot lane I think you can find, and then they've taken 3 complete solo queue solo carry champs and matched them together. So it's a much easier comp to play if you're IGNI, and it's a much more solo queue-esque kind of, I'd say, a lack of coordination type of comp from ELG. So I don't really know if anyone's won it. I think it fully depends on how the teams know how to play their draft. If they know how to play their draft, that's where the advantage comes. It doesn't come specifically in the champions that have been picked up.
Yeah, it feels like the side of ELG is so much more relying on their individual players' skill and decision making when it comes to executing properly, when there's so many tools to stymie and engage for the side of IGNI. And they do have a lack of TPs, though, it can be said. Like, if they go with full 1-3-1 and their solo laners have gotten some sort of momentum going into the game, I think it will be very difficult to push back the pressure that they will be under, given the slipperiness of all these champions. As we now have gotten onto the Rift here with Equinox Week 2, this is Game 1, IGNI versus ELO Last Gaming, and it looks like we've got a little bit of an invade coming, and it's a top side invade, not the usual bot side, to start off this one, as Makina's leading the charge.
They might, if they can actually pull this off, this would be pretty good. But they're going into a Riven with a triple dash, and now the pings are coming, the retribution pings, I'd say, are coming from ELG. They're trying to now establish pressure on the enemy bot side jungle, which is actually really good. I think if ELG are able to establish a lot of vision here, they may help enable this vertical jungling that I mentioned that For Sure needs to go for, because he can't match Sejuani early. So he just needs to go for vertical, and he needs to try to outfarm a jungler who's going to be mostly playing and ganking for his lanes.
I feel like we'll see a lot of actions from both junglers here, actually, because the Kayn is not really a champion before he gets his form, and I feel like he would want to gank either top or mid because of the melee champions. He gets his red Kayn off that, so we might need to see some like preventive measures coming out from the Sejuani, making sure nothing really gets set up. The Mordekaiser is a bit vulnerable, naturally. He likes to push up, fight a lot. And Riven can definitely exploit with a Kayn there.
Yeah, for sure. He has to gank or on the melee lanes if he's going for red Kayn, which I guess is definitely or should definitely be the go-to. But considering, again, this also depends a lot on the individual junglers and how they read the current matchup they're in, because they're starting the same side, so vertical jungling's completely out of the picture, at least to begin with. And it's really, the first 2 or 3 camps are just going to happen. Nothing's really going to be done here, but after they've cleared, because it looks like they're going to full clear their sides, but ELG are pinging the wolf camp that Makina is currently on. So ELG definitely have a track. They know what's going on, and we can only kind of hope that they know how to establish a game plan around the jungle tracking that they've currently got going.
Ooh, a nice pull in by 1995. Grabs up Schwerf and has that damaging dot radius, shoves him away, takes the early aggression, the win in that trade, and slams that club down for another hit. Schwerf's going aggressive though. He wants to take this fight again. Does still end up losing that trade. And looks like the Riven into Mordekaiser matchup, CS-wise and health-wise, has definitely gone in the favor of IGNI.
Yeah, this has not worked out well for Schwerf right now. Again, it is early in lane, but he's down. Oh, he's actually getting pulled in.
He's been cancelled with the dash. He has used that stun to try and get away. He's likely to escape, but Schwerf getting pushed all the way back to his tower. Another potion popped, another fight lost.
Yeah, this is really, really bad for Schwerf. He's not playing super well around where everyone is on the map, and also his own kind of power and ability. He's still trading though.
He still wants it, gets that Conqueror proc off, and now the shield has come on. He can convert it to health. This is going to help 1995 win these trades again, as now Sabat is one getting aggressive. He's got the wave advantage, and Sovinix is back under his tower. They have traded fairly evenly though.
Yeah, this is looking like really good trading from IGNI's players, and I think Schwerf he's really misreading jungle position because he knows he doesn't have a jungler around, so currently he's going to get shoved in knowing he won't get help, and he's kind of just at the fault of it.
He's been caught. Yumi's coming up behind him as well. A nice stun onto Akali, but he is going to have to his work cut out to get away, and that's going to be first blood picked up by the Akali. That has actually turned around back in ELG's favor after what was looking like a rough start.
Yeah, it somehow turns out well for ELG, and this kind of goes back to what I mentioned about jungle tracking, because IGNI are kind of lacking exact tracking of where Forshaw's actually going. They know what his first camp is, or they barely even know. They don't even know if it's Raptors or Red, but they don't really know where he is, and it kind of shows when Sabbath is
another pull it into the club, and it's a kill! He just gets destroyed! 1995 finally wiping off Riven from the map. That is the definitive lane victory.
That's brutal. That's really, really brutal for ELG.
Clubs him down. Tom, how do you feel about this aggressive Yuumi positioning we've seen out of Smirk so far? He's been getting really far up in their face.
I mean, you can do pretty much whatever you want. There's no hard CC coming out pre-6. At least, like, even the Varus is just going to waste his ultimate. The zillion bombs won't land. They're very telegraphed. You just do whatever you want. You get every single spell Thief's proc on cooldown, and you just stack gold up. It's Sivir Yuumi. It is actually.
Is coming in to support his Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser had to flash away. Riven's back in. They are going to clean him up for sure. Walking into that wall. Here comes the healing. And now Sejuani's on the wrong side of town. Sabbath is coming up to support, though. Aurelia coming to support her team. And now Schwerf and for sure running back to their tower. They will take the win in that 2v2.
Really intelligently played by Forshaw. He recognizes that Mordekaiser hadn't been able to get a recall off, and he believes that he'll be able to win this 2v2 that they're kind of instigating. He doesn't know that Sejuani's necessarily coming, but they do get the win, and this means a lot for his ability to get his form off early. He's going to get to continuously hit on Makina here and on 1955, so he gets, I'd say, a lot of form progress here, so he should actually be getting, he's out-tempoing the enemy jungler a lot, like I mentioned he was kind of supposed to be focusing on.
There's a 2-level lead for the Kayn. He's got a lot of melee stacks already. With the fights he's had, he might even be like near half already. It's pretty bad for Sedge right now.
Yeah, this is becoming like a tough matchup, because now when he goes red Kayn, he does the matchup Kayn Sejuani becomes an actual win for Kayn if he out tempos, and currently he's doing that really well. And I feel like the ELG laners are good at playing around this. They aren't putting themselves in a situation where Makina can follow his normal game plan of like ganking for laners that are in trouble, because the laners that are in trouble aren't really easy to gank. Like Akali's too slippery, and there is no reason for Makina to go top lane, and again bot lane's a complete stalemate where his lane's just gonna get poked and you can't really gank Sivir Yuumi. So Makina's in a really, really rough spot right now. There really aren't any lanes that are obvious or easy for him to gank for.
Indeed, and here we have Mordekaiser once again pressuring Swerve in the top lane. He has been caught under the tower, not going to activate that tower aggro, keeping his head, but he is now going to start trading, and Swerve really wants to take this. He's got level 6. Conqueror Pox have come out, the shield as well. He has to jump away, but now the ult's going to come down. The Realm of Death will send him to his own fountain, and that's another kill in lane for 1995.
Yeah, this is starting to become quite a bad situation for ELG, because they have established such a good lead in both mid and jungle, but Schwerf is not giving them this win for free. He's trying to make it hard for his teammates to do much of anything, and he's had to go for a full like defensive budget build, and yeah, this Mordekaiser might actually just get to run rampant and I'm kind of, because now what matters is kind of how they utilize the Mordekaiser lead, because they have to sit him in lane for a few minutes still. I mean, we're 7.5 minutes in. It's not exactly NARAM time yet, but when it kind of becomes time to group up, I'm interested in seeing how exactly are IGNI going to utilize this lead that they've established on Mordekaiser, because they can try for split pushing, sure, but how are they actually going to group with him? How are they going to try to utilize that they have a really, really strong solo carry now?
They have picked up that dragon, which is going to help them building these high damage carry characters. This is going to help them going into that mid game. As now Schwerf, he does actually manage to dodge the claw that time, learned from his mistake maybe, and he's going to walk back to his lane. Tom, we were talking, you mentioned earlier about your experiences with Mordekaiser in solo queue. How effective do you think this character can solo carry a game, as it were? Because right now it looks like there's a lot of pressure on 1995's shoulders to be that force driving his team into the victory.
I feel like it's a champion that thrives in chaos, which is why it's so successful in solo queue. But in a team environment, from the experiences I've had there, it's not really what you want to see.
Oh, Kane's coming in with that Yuumi. Here comes the ultimate as well. He is going to get rooted up, though, by the Varus ultimate. They have reached their tower. Now Yuumi's in trouble. He's getting burst down. The explosions. Iroh cleans that one up, and they go too aggressive. Yuumi not able to escape, and the aggression does not pay off.
Yeah, that was really, really well played by the IGNI bot lane. Actually, I'd say just to oh wait, we have another
for Riven. He is going to have to go back. He is going to get away though, and he can go back to.
Nothing happens. But yeah, we mentioned earlier how we wanted Forshaw to be ganking on the melee lanes because he needs Red Cane. So this entire bot lane thing, that just didn't really make any sense at all. Like, why is Forshaw running to a lane where, first of all, it's actually being pushed in by his own bot lane? Like, they're dying in front of the enemy turret. There's no reason for them to be there. And why is he ganking a lane where he's not going to get the form that he's actually looking for? He kind of just ends up being a detriment to his bot lane, and it gives the IGNI bot lane a chance to come back in a lane that they're actually losing really, really hard just in the isolated 2v2.
Feels like we haven't seen too much out of Sovinix on this Akali, besides picking up that early kill, catching Sabbath on the bad recall. We have seen him moving into the river every now and again, but it's always been quite late behind any action that's potentially going on, and there's never been a full commitment to gank another lane, despite being relatively in control of mid, it seems. I'm not sure what the issue is there, or if maybe there's just not roaming enough and they could find more opportunities, or if it's better for Akali to get strong right now against Aurelia, as Schwerf takes another chunk of damage. But yeah, I'm not sure how Sovinix is going to move into the mid game, since he seems a little wary to roam through the lanes right now.
Oh no, I think like if you want to make this Mordekaiser work, you need to be putting more resources into him. This Riven really can't handle him. And they wouldn't be able to like handle a tower dive or anything. When Sedge comes in and he procs his Aftershock, he has 200 armor. There's nothing a Riven will do, and you have plenty of damage with this Mordekaiser. So just like put your Sejuani top and make it work.
He's committed to this fight now. Riven is still in the area. They've gone into the Kayn ultimate. He is going to dive away. Can Riven try and complete this one? There goes the ultimate. The Realm of Death has run out. He's flashed away from that Kayn movement now. Riven so low. The minions not able to finish it off. Almost getting punished. The Mordekaiser, with a straight up 1v2, still walks away the victor.
That is, again, it's really, really weird how Forshaw's trying to pull off these ganks, because it worked earlier where he was like just constantly hitting Mordekaiser, just kept going. He was like, yeah, I'm killing you, I'm going to keep hitting you. But here he just, I don't know, he keeps going, expecting him to do good. It's like he hasn't pressed tab. Oh, wait, we have an all-in mid?
Committal of the ultimate from Sabbath and a follow-up stun with the Sejuani ultimate. That is a brutal combo. IGNI taking a clean kill in mid.
Yeah, that is exactly what Makina wants to do. He's doing exactly, again, what we predicted, where his laners get into a predicament, they start a fight, and then Makina comes in as the backup. The great benefit of having a tank, and really, really good for Sabbath now, because now he gets to establish a much bigger lead, because mid was kind of a stalemate with no one moving because of the state of the side lanes. So I'd say really, really good job from Makina and Sabbath working together here to establish a lead, so now that IGNI have kind of turned the tide in actually, I'd say, every single lane and in every single matchup. They're slowly establishing a global lead.
It looks like early on they did have a little bit of a lead, but then threw it away, losing a couple of kills, but they have kept that consistency in the lane, and that has pulled them back ahead. 1k gold advantage right now. They have lost the Infernal Drake, and it looks like they're likely to lose the Rift Herald as well, as For Sure has been allowed to hit that freely for a while. I believe he's just picked that one up. And now he's going to go back to his jungle, so that could help them at least break off first tower, maybe snipe some plates up to get them back in. As the Yumi ult is committed, Sivir goes in, the Barra Assault is going to blast the Zilean out. He is going to go down and get that revive, and now Chelsea was looking very low with the Zilean bomb on. He's got to walk away, but that Q does so much damage. Both ADCs walk away with a sliver. A lot of committal there, but no actual kills picked up in a very tight bot lane fight.
A very, very close fight. Nice job by the ELG bot lane, recognizing that there's no flash on the Varus and that they can commit, but they're at a big mana disadvantage. But though this is the thing I wanted to talk about earlier, but I guess I can slightly mention it now. ELG have a really, really big advantage doing these trades because they've actually gone for TP on Sivir, and again because they have the Yumi gets transported with her. I feel like IGNI are misreading, or at least Enchamps misread what was going to happen with this bot lane matchup, because they are going to be pressured on CS and they are going to be pressured on push. Also, the Herald being summoned out bot now makes it even worse, because in a Varus Cillian lane, you can actually definitely afford to go heal on Cillian and then TP on Varus, but because they haven't done that, they're actually they're just gonna lose an entire turret bot lane now because they simply can't show up in lane to lane in time after taking a really, really heavy trade.
That is the full plates coming to there. So actually, someone has come over. The Red Dragon has been pulled up by Kayn, and now it's a full-on fight. So Saba's ult has gone in, the Aurelia ult has come down, the blades flying, but she has been taken down by Chelsea. And now Kayn has Yumi attached, tries to go through that wall, but ends up turning away as they take that free kill, and the Dragon, and the tower, including the early Rift Tower play. Huge swing for ELG.
Yeah, somehow, just as I mentioned that IGNI have established a global lead, they make me eat my words, and now we're back to a point where ELG are actually ahead in almost every lane. I'd say top lane is still getting absolutely battered, but this is really, really, really intelligent from ELG, grouping up as 4, trying to get turrets, and they might get Iroh here, but they don't want to commit to it. They're playing very well around the current summon
the ult's been
spells.
committed by Riven. Schwarf going for this fight again, and he's actually won it. He's finally managed to take this lane in his favor. Couple of Infernal Dragons maybe doing some work for him there, and now Mordekaiser. The fact that they only had the lead really in the Mordekaiser lane, and now that's not even winning the 1v1s anymore, this surely spells disaster for the side of IGNI going into mid-game.
Yeah, I gotta stop making points about what's currently happening. Just as I say someone has to lead, they seem to have they seem to want to throw it away. They don't want me to be right about my my read on the game. So now this is looking really, really good for ELG, and they're really still really, really good at grouping up. They have their red Kayn. They're just kind of looking to hit their item spikes on Kayn and Riven, because they have Essence Reaver and Gunblade finished for their AD in mid. So ELG now just have to play around the lead that they have, and they're looking really, really good. They just need to keep out-tempoing and kind of keeping the tempo up so that IGNI can't really follow them.
True, they have built up this dynamic duo of Yumi and Red Kayn is now online, roaming around, you can see them getting aggressive and trying to take fights with anyone they spot. As now Chelsea has been rotated up into that top lane with Akali going bot lane. Now we might see the split push starting to come out, and the pressure and the wave pushing that this team, the ELG, have drafted is going to become very important here. As you say, they now have the lead, and they can just run the side of IGNI around, as now Lightbulb snuck into this brush. He is going to land that ultimate. That's an engage onto Chelsea, and a nice stopwatch to cover that stun. He is still going to come out, and that is going to be cleanly knocked up by Agent Lightbulb. A nice brush play to at least maybe get a push onto this top lane tower, as now Kayn and Yumi are rotating up.
Wait, Smoke, what?
He's been caught out.
What are you doing?
Does have to use the heal, and the Sejuani ult comes out as well. The Zillion bombs come flying, but now here comes the duo of Kayn and Yumi, but Aurelia's coming up to support. If they stick up too far here, this could become a 2v4 very quickly. It looks like they will just back away and maybe just try and push this tower down, using the pressure that they got from Chelsea going down, who does not have his TP yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of looking good and looking bad here, but a really, really nice play from the IGNI bot lane. Chelsea simply not expecting it, not reacting to it in time, and again, the leads in the different lanes are kind of being changed, and now Lightbolt getting the same treatment.
Caught him up by this Kayn Yumi. Here comes Zillion ult as well, and now he is going to get rooted up. Forshaw actually waiting between the two ults into the Zillion, comes out, the flashes come away, flashes over, it's not going to quite get it, does get Iroh. Even Lightbolt's going to slink away with his life, having the Ignite being put on him, but now that was, I'd say, fairly well played. Probably maybe could have got 2, did at least get both flashes and the heal, as now they're going to push for this tower.
Nah, it was really, really nice for sure. He's definitely establishing himself on the map and in the game right now as being a big threat now that he has to put his carry pants on a bit and help his team slowly scale up. But really, really nice play from him. And yeah, IGNI bot lane kind of caught sleeping. At least they don't lose 2. But another tower down now, and IGNI seriously need to get their push on because they're now 3 towers behind. And their objective game has generally been really, really weak.
I feel like the bot lane of Igni just has to respect this Kayn a little more. When it's a Kayn running at you, you might not be that scared, but when it's a Kayn with a Yuumi attached, you just cannot kill him. You need to show a little bit more respect up in the side lane there.
I absolutely agree on that. They definitely need to respect the threat that he has. Though it's not Blue Kayn and he doesn't exactly one-shot him, he still deals a lot of very, very consistent and constant damage out. And he is becoming quite big, and now we need to wait and see exactly what ELG want to do with their positioning, because their bot lane is getting caught very, very far out.
Here comes the Yuumi, absolutely in the wrong side of town. Is going to go into Chelsea with the ultimate coming down. Sabbath's ultimate whiffs terribly, and now that has been nothing achieved for that committal to the team fight for the side of IGNI.
Yeah, he yeets at the very, very far away from his target, and it doesn't really work out, but IGNI's still trying to pressure. I feel like IGNI are trying to, like, establish anything, any kind of fight they can, because they recognize Akali's on the opposite side of the map, but she still has teleport, and IGNI need to realize this and need to be ready for her to come in no matter what they do. As they're now getting
Schwerf is on the backside, he catches Lightbulb, but he is the one getting pushed up. The Yuumi ult comes down, but way too early. Schwerf has gotten knocked up with the Varus, but he is going to get taken down. The TP has come in now, Akali wreaking havoc on this backline, and now they're just running them over. Mordekaiser's slowly walking up behind, but he is too slow. And now Iroh is just going to get 1v1'd off by this Akali, who picks up a Quadra kill. This could be the Penta coming in for Sovonix, as 1995 is doing his damnedest to take a team fight win. He has gotten the Chelsea down on this Sivir, and now they've left it in the hands of Akali to clean up for a Penta kill for Akali off the back of a very nice engage, a flank from the Riven, and now they're going to pick up a third Infernal Drake as well.
What on earth just happened? The ELG just completely opened this game up. I mean, they did have a lead, but getting a pentakill on your kind of stalemate Akali is just, like, completely out of the blue. I'm actually really, really impressed with how ELG played this fight. I feel like the coordination on them in the beginning was kind of weird, with the Riven just kind of going in and dying, but I feel like the Mordekaiser decided he felt bad for Schwerf here, and he decided to teleport in behind his team, never really being near them, and it becomes really, like, there's a giant lack of coordination here with Igni's team fighting, but really, really good job from ELG, and especially Sovonix for recognizing that and playing really, really well in the fight.
Yes, a dominating teamfight win, and that dragon picked up. You can see now that the pressure is very heavily in ELG. Before, it was trading back and forth, gold leads going from one team to the other, but now it seems that ELG have finally taken hold of this game, and now we'll see if they choose to go back to the split push. It looks like Schwerf has gone bot lane again. With that TP up, they still have Chelsea's as well. And now it is all on Igni to try and find a decent fight. As Mordekaiser's gone in, the Yuumi ult has been able to stymie that one out though. Sivir's ultimate has been used as well, and they are just going to walk away from that one, as now Igni, desperate to find some sort of engage to get them back into this game, as their teamfight comp just isn't able to find what they need.
This is like a head scratcher game, because I feel like everything that I thought was going to happen hasn't happened. I'm not sure if it's the caster curse or if I've just been completely wrong, but I thought the side of ELG would not be able to 5v5, and they're just doing it.
For sure has gone to the jungle and been stunned up, but now Sovonix is coming in to help him out. The ultimate from Malaysia Viper has come down. Kane's actually been shut down. This is a good start for the side of Igni. The Aurelia has gone over too as well, and they are going to corral Sovonix back into their own tower. Lightbulb just walking up and, wait, that's an interesting E, just right on top of himself. He is going to find clean this one, get a nice 800 gold shutdown onto this AD carry, and surely they're going to beeline for this Baron.
Yeah, I have to agree so hard with you, Tom. What we're expecting to happen is clearly not happening, because right as we weren't expecting ELG to teamfight, and then they teamfight. Okay, that's fine. So now we're expecting them to roll the game. They just got a pentakill on their Kali, and then they get 3-for-1, give Varus an 800 gold shutdown, and are now looking to lose a Baron while up 3 turrets and 3 Infernal Drakes. This really doesn't make any sense, and it's quite a large overforce from ELG in a fight that I guess they're not realizing they can't take, but now they still want to keep fighting. They're committing a TP.
There's a TP by Riven here, but it's behind them, and now they're just going to sort of walk away, I guess. I feel like Schwerf could have come in very much earlier on one of these pink cords that they do have behind them, as the amount of damage that Chelsea was putting out through the ricochets into that Baron pit. 1995 was standing in auto range, and they were all getting shut down by the ricochets, but then there was just no TP from Schwerf until after the Baron is down, giving away that summoner and still losing the objective.
Yeah, this just completely kills the 1-3-1, right? Because now Riven doesn't have TP. They've lost Baron to the enemy team. All 5 members of IGNI are now sitting with a Baron buff, and now they should have map controller. They should at least be the ones kind of making up the pressure, or kind of taking the lead here in terms of what's going to happen and where everything's going to be taking place, as they are looking to siege down mid and get their first turret of the game.
Baron finally giving them the pressure that they need. If you just look at the vision as well, it's so heavily in favor of ELG, all on that top side. Akali is so safe there, and you have to imagine that if they didn't have this Baron to contest against, they'd be in such a strong position, as now IGNI, they have found the wave pressure they need to shove out those waves, to get those towers, and maybe call themselves back into this game. It is their first tower, admittedly. They are still down 3 towers to 1, but they have evened up the gold, and now the main thing that is sitting in the pockets of ELG in terms of their advantage are these 3 Infernal Drakes. These are going to start becoming so scary as more and more items get picked up, especially for people like Chelzu and for Sophenix after he got accelerated using that pentakill. So I think that the longer this game goes, people like Lightbulb and Iroh need to be so very scared of the assassins, and then 1995 on this Mordekaiser, he's gonna stop winning these fights at some point, I think, when he has the extra 24% damage to deal with. As now Sophenix is looking to take this 1v1, he goes into the Shroud, shield has gone onto, but the club comes down to so much damage. First ultimate charge has been used, and now here comes the backup with Yuumi. He does have to get away, almost takes down the Mordekaiser, does retreat back to his tower when the backup comes in. But as I was saying there, Sophenix now looking to do a whole lot of damage. His ultimate is actually down, and now IGNI are the ones pushing onto his tower. Oh, the ultimate, both ultimates committed. The Sabbath ultimate does actually land, but it's too far behind enemy lines, and now it looks like they will just get the tower off this. So not that bad, but not too much achieved overall.
And Makina coming really close to getting a catch here, but he's taking lessons from the wrong NA jungler and ends up whiffing it, so nothing really comes off it. A nice idea here, like a really good flank potential from Sabbath, but doesn't really end up doing anything. Sophenix, though, is now establishing himself as like a really big, even 1v1 damage threat, because we were questioning who exactly is going to answer this Mordekaiser, and like, is Akali ever going to be on the map? And he's clearly establishing himself there, but nice job of him to not commit too hard to the fight. And now another dragon goes over to ELG, so we're coming closer and closer to this point where we have to ask, is this game going to go to Elder Dragon? Like, are we actually going to get that far? Do ELG want that just because they're sitting on 4 Drakes and 3 of them being Infernals?
There's no way they want that. You just like, Elder Dragon is such a huge teamfight buff, and it's a teamfight objective, and as far as we know, IGNI wants to get these teamfights rolling. Like, the Zillion will get more potent, and this Varus will just keep putting out more damage. Seeing as Irelia only has 1.5 items right now, the longer this goes, the better it is for him. Kali's sitting on nearly 3 items. So if ELG do make the conscious decision to let it go to like Elder Drake spawn time, it's a questionable one. And of course I'm going to be proven wrong because we're casting.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It's going to get proven straight away.
Wouldn't want it otherwise.
They have been shoved off this tower now. It is a 4v5. For sure, getting quite aggressive in the positioning, but the Ricochet is doing so much work clearing out these waves of pressure. As now, a nice pull in by 1995. Yuumi ultimate comes out to counteract it. The root has come up. A Varus ultimate in committal as well. They are now fully diving this tower, and they're melting through them. IGNI have finally found this team fight, and they're just destroying the side of ELG in this 4v5. They finally get the engage they need, and now Akali has been left pushing this top lane as all 4 members of ELG get wiped off the face of the map. Mordekaiser TP's back to save his own base, and now this could be a broken base for IGNI.
I'd say that, yeah. Oh, Tom, sorry.
I hope someone's spam pinging the Akali TP, because he has it up. He could have just TP'd in, and he could have saved everyone, and potentially even turn it around. He's just completely abandoned his team and got on 1 turret. Very interesting decision if that was conscious.
Yeah, he doesn't decide to pull it. He realizes, I guess it's probably a team decision that they'd rather have Akali try to push
he's
in.
Looking for it. He is in the thick of things right now. He does actually. Oh, he's coming back in.
He's gone in.
He's gone into Sabbath. He's got a very but that's a shutdown, and now Kane has come in to back him up. He has gone ultimating into Agent Lightbulb. The bombs are coming down to try and save him, but here comes Chelzu as well. A nice crit to finish that one up. A shutdown for him, and Sophenix chasing this Sejuani into out of their own jungle, back to their own fountain. And now a slight overstay for the side of IGNI. They get that tower, but lose 3 big kills in trade for it.
it's really, really interesting seeing how two teams with two, I feel, very different compositions are playing the exact same game, where they're making the exact same moves and they're making the exact same mistakes. Because they have the same idea of missing teleports, of committing to really weird fights, of overextending, and it's like, I really can't predict who's going to come out on top here, because it seems like every team...
Oh, a stun for Sovonix there. The Yumi ultimate comes
fighting
out as well. They looks like they might just be walking away there. Got a little bit too big for their boots, stepped a little bit too far up, and they have been pushed away from the space tower.
And now the pacing has to happen, because Baron's going to come up in a bit, and I'd love to tell the stream and tell you guys who's going to win the Baron team fight here, but I literally have no idea. There is not a single chance on earth that I can say, yeah, this team's probably going to win a Baron fight, because it's going so back and forth right now. Like, it's kind of out in the open. It's really, really up to the slightest micro, slightest mechanical aspect. Actually, no, scratch that. IGNI are just going to start up the Baron.
They have started it, and now the Akali is in that side lane with TP up as well. Will she have a better time to TP for this one? The rest of ELG are in the vicinity, but they're looking to have a trouble getting in there. They've got to commit to this quickly, as the Baron is down to 4k HP. Here comes that TP finally. It is in time. Foreshaw's coming over the wall. It's going to go down to a 50-50. They're going to go down to who is going to secure this Baron. Mordekaiser's got Foreshaw very low. It is picked up by Sejuani, and Sabath is wreaking havoc on the backline. It's IGNI who have taken the win so far, as now the only 3 remaining members of ELG are pushed back into their jungle. No kills, no Baron. They do actually get shoved back, and now this could be IGNI looking for the victory.
Crucial play. Mordekaiser.
Yeah, really, really big.
From the start, when that champion got released or teased, or whenever they gave it the tiniest bit of information about it, people were like, wait, you can ulti a jungler out of a Baron fight? That's dumb. And it actually worked this time. He ulted the Kayn out. There was no 50-50. It was 100-0, assuming the Sejuani has a D key on the keyboard, pulling out the entire risk from the play, getting more kills, getting the inhibitor. Class. Mordekaiser works, I suppose.
Yeah, that was actually really, really good. Again, questioning how's Mordekaiser really going to work in a 5v5 versus this really, really aggressive ELG comp, but I guess that's one way to make it work. Isolating the jungler, making it so that he doesn't have any chance of contesting the Baron, and then coordinating the rest of the team into a situation where Sabath is zoning off 2 or 3 members and actually winning the fight pretty much, while the rest of the team is hitting the Baron. So, I mean, really, really well coordinated by IGNI, and it clearly shows that they know how to play around Mordekaiser, and they aren't completely oblivious to what the potential of the character is.
They have stepped onto this Mountain Drake. Sejuani has popped over the wall, a stun up though, and now it has been secured by the side of ELG. That's a 5th dragon for them, and now Makina trapped in the pit. A nice stun comes out though. For sure has to ult defensively just to get away from that one, and now he is having to resurrect. All of ELG is sitting in the pit here. They are going to walk away. They did take the dragon, so overall a win for them.
Yeah, I guess ELG got another dragon. Really, really weird idea here from IGNI that they need to try to commit to a fight over the wall when only one member actually goes over it, because I feel like if IGNI just walk around the pit and then try to fight in the pit opening, they might actually win it, but fighting over a wall with only one champion actually there inside the pit feels weird, and they lose 3 ultimates for it. So now it's really bad for them, because they give ELG time to weather out the storm here for this Baron buff, and they don't they just need to give up this dragon. At this point, the Mountain Drake isn't gonna really make a huge dent in anything or make a large difference. So just take your Baron, go top while the enemy team's trying to do a dragon on the bottom side, and utilize your lead. Don't play around what type of lead your opponent's trying to make.
Sovonix goes in, and Sonya Sabath is not here and does not have TP. The Yumi ult comes very early though, and is only going to catch that Mordekaiser. He almost goes down, but they are able to disengage crucially. Sabath able to link up with his team, the redemption coming down, and that was getting very, very dicey for IGNI.
Yeah, they keep walking up and taking these really, really weird fights, or small trades which I feel like they should recognize that they aren't gonna win. They're really, really not using their Baron buff at all. They're not utilizing the amount of siege pressure, but I guess it is really hard to siege when you're playing versus a Sivir and a Kayn, kind of always looking to either clear the wave or try to engage on you.
They are pushed back. They have now returned to this top lane. I believe they do still have a bit of Baron buff left. They are here going to shove up to this inner tower, and now the side of ELG is reconverging. Kayn does have the Yumi in the back pocket. They have gone onto Iroh. That's a knock-up. Mordekaiser's pulled him in now for sure. Is deep in that line. The Yumi ultimate comes out again. Zillion ultimate has been used. to defend that support. This could come back to bite them. A huge 3-man knockup, and now Sejuani is coming with the ultimate, and it's actually ELG that still have it turned around on them. Foreshore is coming out of that wall. So many low health bars. 2 cleaned up by this Kane, but now IGNI have pushed through this team fight. They are going to clean up the full ace on a completely knife-edge team fight with a wave in mid lane. Surely they're going to push this in for the victory. What a closer.
Holy.
What a closer, and what a close game, actually. I couldn't have told you who was going to win that, even with this Baron buff on. But they decisively win that team fight, only losing Agent Silverbolt. And all out, like, it's closing out a strong game here.
Yeah, really, really back and forth game, but IGNI, they do take it in the end, and this could not have been a more, like, first place versus second place game. I feel like still a really good showing out of ELG, and their clear weaknesses from both teams that they now know how to work on, but a good showing from IGNI, and they will take the win and take sole possession of first place here in the league.
A well-deserved win for IGNI, retaking their spot at the top of the standings, just like last season. And what an opening game for us today at Equinox Week 2. For 2 very, very disparate comps, very disparate teams, and they both played in many ways very well, I think, to the win conditions they drafted themselves. There were mistakes on both sides, but at the end of the day, we did see 2 very different teams playing to their own strengths, and it almost worked out for both. Super close fight. They're right at the end, especially Foreshore's 3-man knockup. I was sure that was the end of it after the Zillion ult had been committed only to save the support, but somehow they do manage to push through. I'm going to have to go back and watch that again at some point just to find out how exactly it was won. But that is going to be us for game 1. Let's go to our 2 big brain analysts here. Can you guys pick me out an MVP for this game?
Tom, I'd like you to have the honor, because I'm definitely torn myself on what I'd say here.
15 minutes ago, I would have said Akali, but that's not going to happen now. I think overall, it's actually kind of hard. I feel like Agent Lightbulb played a really stellar game. He positioned quite nicely. He didn't I didn't really see him screw up in lane much. He had the nice brush pick off in top lane. But overall, like, Sabbath did a really good job too. The Mordekaiser was utilized, and perhaps it needs to be 1995 on the Mordekaiser pulling out the enemy jungler during that decisive team fight. A really, like, just like big brain play. Overall, doing really well in the lane too. Perhaps the Mordekaiser for me.
Yeah, I'd probably agree on 1995 here with doing a lot in the Baron Pit, and I think the last fight, because it was kind of hard, like, looking at what actually happened in the last team fight here, but I think his very, very consistent damage output with his Leandries and his constant passive spam, I feel like that's what made the difference for them here, and I think he definitely deserved the MVP. But I think everyone on IGNI can kind of look at themselves and say that they had a pretty nice game. I think the mistakes that happened weren't individual; they were the entire team miscoordinating, and I think overall both teams had really, really good games with obvious flaws in them, but still a nice performance, and definitely solid from IGNI especially.
Indeed, this is the kind of performance we want to see from our top teams here at Equinox League. We are going to go to a short break now. We'll be back very soon with Fuzzy versus Nox. Hopefully it will be as exciting as this one. Do not go anywhere, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back for Season 2, Week 2, Game 2 between Nox and Fuzzy Esports. I'm still here with John, Jay, and CJ. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We just came out of a really exciting game, which pinned IGNI as the current best team in the league, and now we're looking at another interesting game, which is probably going to be, I'd say, very important to look at in terms of looking at like the mid of the table, because we've got a team in Nox who have performed well against other mid-table teams and not really against the higher table teams.
Well, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. We've seen 0-2. I think it was 0-2 coming out from Fuzzy last week and 1-1 from Nox. But someone has to get their first or second win today, and I'm kind of interested for the setup. I know both teams have some spicy picks in the locker room. I'm going to see what's going to be able to come out in Champ Select today.
We did have some interesting picks last game with the Mordekaiser coming into that top lane, having a very big impact, and then some of the more common ones like your Siffers and your Yumis and your Akali's versus Relia's mid lane. But I think that something that I enjoy very much about the meta right now is it does feel like pretty much outside of like Sivir ADC, feels like mid and top do have a lot of variety in terms of strategies, picks, styles, and like there's so many flex champions of so many different varieties you can put up there. Everything from like the Ribbon top we saw last time all the way to Karma top lane. Like I really do enjoy the solo lane variety that we have in the meta right now.
Absolutely. There's a lot of room for flex picks, and there's a lot of room for taking the flex picks and moving them to different lanes. So I think creativity is definitely rewarded if you know how to be creative and you know how to work with your team and with creative strategy, as we are heading into Champ Select looking at picks and bans. Is there anything specific we're expecting to be taken away here from any of the teams?
From the teams, assuming one of the teams has done their homework, I feel like we're going to see a Pyke ban. I feel like Corki might be contested. I know Call the Turtle plays a lot of stuff. If you throw any bans at him, he's just going to reach deeper into the pool. But I know Pilot's a pretty... I'd call him a Sivir enthusiast, judging from his OPGG. Definitely likes to lock Sivir in and go for the 400 CS power spike. But
Another one.
But overall, I feel like perhaps a Sejuani ban is warranted. It's really easy to play. It's probably the best or second best jungler in the meta, and the setup with champions like Aurelia, Riven, Camille is just really, really nasty.
Yeah, we have some intelligent bans, I'd actually say, from the side of Fuzzy here, because they recognize that they've got a substitute support, so they're banning out solo laners, trying to get a good lane setup for the players that I guess they're expecting to carry them for this one, as we lose Yumi, so Sivir's open for the Sivir enthusiast, and well, would you have it any other way? Sivir is the first pick.
A true enthusiast indeed he is, even going for the first pick. I mean, it's a safe pick, it scales really nicely. And I forgot to change the scene. So here we go. Yeah, there we go.
Nothing. Trust me, chat. There's nothing exciting here. It's a Sivir lock-in. Like, you'll be fine.
You didn't miss.
You will get over it at some point. But it is indeed another Sivir. Excited to see what's going to be locked in with this time, and Sivir can play more aggressively, not paired with a Yumi. But against a Sejuani, you might just want to go for something safe.
Karma is still available, whereas it was banned last time, and that is one of those super high priority spoilers, plus the Lux as well. So those are both solid options we could see coming out for the side of Nox, as we do have the Sejuani Aurelia locked in for Fuzzy Esports as well, and that is a combination we saw last game, brought up by IGNI, and it was incredibly effective in winning those team fights. I think that is very strong picks to bring out. Aurelia obviously flexible between that mid and top lane, as the Pyke has been brought out, so it looks like some homework was indeed done.
Yeah, good Pyke look in here. I like the trundle into Sejuani. It is kind of a boring matchup to an extent. It's very NA-ish, so I guess they listened to us when we asked for NA comps. But the Pyke, at least bringing some excitement to this draft. I'm excited to see how they play around it, because you can really play Pyke in a lot of ways. And I'm assuming that Crave is actually a player that knows his way around Pyke and knows how to maneuver the champ in different ways. And hopefully we'll get to see something exciting as we get the Lucian look in. We didn't mention it last game, but it didn't come out. So we have a very high pressure early game AD carry, and also a very slippery AD playing, I guess, as a kind of pseudo counter to Pyke's engage potential.
We don't often. Go ahead.
It is a bit of a pseudo counter against Pyke's engage potential, but with this patch, it's very likely it's going into the bottom lane, which means I don't think I'll see him engaging much, but rather just leaving the Sivir to ricochet away and move to other lanes to make stuff happen. Of course, 9.13, Pyke got hit quite a bit on his wave clear, both his E and Q, so less likely to see him in a solo lane. I'm not sure if Ferrum or Doldemort is confident in playing it on this patch, but definitely going to be running around the map trying to make stuff happen if it's in the bot lane.
Yeah, this is an interesting Karma ban, so I'm assuming this is them predicting or knowing that maybe Ferrum has some experience on tank Karma, because she has been seeing a little more play, though it's not been to a larger extent, and also the Pyke lock-in makes it so that banning Karma as an intended support champion isn't exactly logical. There's a lot of support picks hovered. I'm really excited. I want to see Mammal play something exciting here, and not some cookie cutter, I was gonna say boring mage like Lux, which we'll probably be seeing. I have quite a bit of experience with this Lux Pyke matchup, and it's very much, it's actually 100% reliant on Mammal's ability to click on the map and know how to move his champion around, because this could basically be a free lane for Nox if Crave plays this Pyke really well, and I think we have to pay a lot of attention to Mammal here and his ability to move around and maneuver his champion.
You know, we are locked in on the thought that it's a Lux support, but I've seen a lot of it mid lane too, blowing up people left and right. So maybe it is a flex pick for now, and that would be pretty smart considering they have the counter pick.
It's absolutely an option. Veigar also an unorthodox lock-in. I'd say we don't see much of Veigar anymore. We did see it played versus a Seer in Rift Rivals, but there's not really an Seer here, so I'm assuming that Nox is picking this into a supposed Irelia mid, but with Rumble also locked in, or Silas, that is interesting. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I did mention last game that Silas, I'm not a fan of the champion. It's actually kind of smart here, picking it against some of the ultimates that he's going to be able to steal, but the champion itself lacks wave clear and lacks general 1v1 potential, so I hope Nox know what they're doing with this pick and aren't just picking it because they see, ooh, shiny Sejuani, I want that, and they actually put some thought behind the pick.
That might just literally be why they picked it, because they don't really have much engage otherwise. I mean, they have a Sivir ult to run at people, and they have a Trundle Pillar, and they have a Veigar Cage. There's not much to engage with. So even if they do just take it for the Sejuani ultimate, might be smart. But I know Bumblebee here is very confident on his Renekton. It's probably going to go into the top lane. Z is a good Irelia player. It is indeed the Lux in the bottom lane. And unless it has to be the Glacial Augment on the Veigar, or I think they just lose this draft gigantically.
Yeah, nothing else would really make sense, but it is a lot of I guess kiting for the side of Nox and waiting for... I think that they need to wait for Fuzzy to overextend, and then they need to catch him on the backside. And I hope I'm not complete... I'm hoping they're just waiting for the last second, as we have a dodge. I'm assuming that's because they weren't able to swap their characters around, because Renekton was looking to be played by Kale, which doesn't exactly make a lot of sense, as we will be waiting a bit for the lobby to be restored. I guess we can talk about the draft, because we did see it finish to completion. Tom, who do you think, who has the advantage here? Because I'm kind of split on what I prefer in the draft.
I'm just gonna have to figure out the lobby here, because it's about rules and everything.
Oh yes, of course. Do we know what happened? The issue at hand?
It's a client bug, couldn't trade, so they are just going to be able to play the Renekton in the top lane.
Okay, so it is Renekton in the top lane and will be Lucian AD carry. I was kind of maybe slightly hoping we'd see Renekton Lux bot lane, though I don't think that would be very effective. It's just we will be waiting for the game to be remade. Mammal will be rejoining the lobby as soon as possible, as we will be figuring out the rules, so we have some time to fill the void with our own little talk show. CJ, do you have anything on your mind?
I think that looking at the Phase 2 bans that came out from Nox when they banned away Thresh and Morgana really does imply to me that Pike is going to be looking to roam as soon as possible. And I think that just so they don't have to leave their Sivir in a lane. Sivir having that spell shield is obviously incredibly useful for getting out that kind of situation. But even, I mean, she's got it once and then it's on a 20-second cooldown, and there's only so much you can do necessarily if you have like a Lucian Thresh getting right up in your business. So I think that Pike will be leaving the Sivir alone, and I think Sivir Pike is not, it's not a common combination that you see a lot. You see Sivir just all the time in general, but normally it's with the Lux or the Karma or the Yumi as we saw last game, and it's just, I guess the Sivir is going to be left on her own to just farm it up and have an incredibly dull time, and then Pike is going to be roaming up to win those lanes. The synergy that they have, the effect they can have on things like dragon fights with both Veigar and Pike roaming, if they're able to actually join those fights and catch people out, is super scary for the side of Fuzzy. They need to be very cautious when, you know, never phase checking anything. Whenever they're warding, they need to be sure that they're doing it safely, or they are just going to get absolutely murdered with very little counterplay to get out of it, I feel.
I'd say I agree, definitely, depending on how this Sivir ends up being kind of isolated in her lane. Now, looking at what we have received in the Discord channel, it seems that the TFT players have completely cursed Mammal's ability to get back into the client, so I don't know if we'll have to do a short break or if we need to try to find a topic to talk about, because there's only so much you can discuss about this draft, because everything is kind of, I guess it's simple to an extent and it's understandable, but we will have to wait for Mammal to get back in.
I'm not sure if I can filibuster for 70 minutes of TFTQ, if I'm honest. That would be fast.
We'll be sitting here for the next 16 hours. Good luck.
I mean, he's not even trying to play TFT. He's just being punished for other people. It's really unlucky.
Very unfortunate. I guess he's. This is punishment for I guess not being a diamond player. What can you do? But yeah, we will be waiting for Mammal, and I guess this is going to be interesting, because what I wanted to mention was that this is actually specifically for Fussy an important game for them to win, because if they don't win this, they will be kind of put together in this group of bottom tier teams with AMG, who've had to forfeit a game that they had today versus, who was that, Vanguard, Njord, and also PogChimp, who are kind of the I guess not completely certified, but the most for fun team, and also the team that we don't really expect to win a lot. And with Fussy being the, I'd almost say most, or the team trying the hardest out of these three, I don't think they want to be grouped with them in the standings. I think being grouped with the two teams where it kind of seen as, I'd almost say that a lot of people consider them lesser competitors. I think Fussy really want this win to at least say, hey, we're actually in this. We're actually trying to win games. And without that, without a win here, I think it's going to look very dire for them, and I feel like their mentals might be kind of tested. And also, they'll probably be like subject to a lot of ridicule, because being last and grouped with teams who are obviously going to be in last place, it's never fun. It never really benefits you as a team.
After this game, their matchup is against AMG, so worst case scenario, if they get 0-3, someone's going to get their first win of the split, which is of course a very nice, nice feat. Good. Of course, like getting your first win, that's epic. But considering their roster, that they have some high diamond players, you would think they'd be more so contending for perhaps a top 4 place finish rather than trying to get out of like relegation or likes of such. And as you mentioned, PogChimp kind of like hanging down near the ladder, and AMG too, which is of course a big downfall from their split victory last split, but with a completely different roster. It pretty much Paka and the name are the same as far as I know.
I don't think anything else is really the same as last year, so the expectations for AMG are of course a lot different than they were last split. And of course, we can't expect them to perform at the same level that old AMG would do. But there are still players playing around. And again, we have old AMG players like Chinese Pineapple, who is in the depths of hell with the 4-Fun PogChimp team. And I guess Artie's like roped him into being a 4-Fun player now. So it is sad, because there's a lot of respected players and respected teams that are kind of falling by the wayside. But it does make way for new teams, as we've seen ELG do really well. The rebranded team Abandoned seems to be doing pretty well, and we have other teams like Niedernehm and Vanguard Njord who aren't looking like. There are a lot of teams that are actually looking to be able to contest at least a playoff spot, and I think I want Fuzzy Esports to be there as well because they are a new team with mostly new players and new interesting faces, and there's nothing that should be stopping them from being a contester in the league as well, and not be clumped up with the I guess the ancient ones who sit at the bottom of the table at the current time.
It is an unfortunate factor coming into pretty much all like online amateur grassroots League of Legends or online esports competition is that the first few weeks of a split or a season or tournament are always incredibly tough if you have a rough start, because everyone is kind of volunteering and committing their own time to this. They are doing it for fun, quote unquote, even if they are trying very hard. It's something they want to do, they enjoy, or maybe it's someone who's trying to push to reach that next level of competition. They're really trying to get more experience, and having a really rough start when you know you're committing to potentially weeks more of what at that point might just feel like queuing up to lose games on comms, which is never fun at all. So there's a lot of mental damage that you can take having a rough early start, and I really actually respect teams that have like rough starts and then stay in the league and manage to bring it back later on. I think that shows a lot of character that some people just unfortunately don't have, or they aren't willing to dedicate the time or commit to it hard enough, which is, as I say, it's just like an inherent factor of this kind of competition. So there will be people who fall by the wayside who don't really want to use up their time to just not do something they enjoy if they're not having success with it. But I think that Fuzzy Esports, as you say, they look like a team which are able to have a big impact and actually have some success on this stage. And I do hope that they manage to turn things around just so we can get even more competition for those playoff spots. It's always nice to just have more competition. It's having like a single team leading the league can be good to have like a figurehead. That was basically IGNI last split. They were the team to beat and they were everyone's raid boss, and it's nice to have something at the top of the league. But I think it's also just good to have a little less definition and a little bit more uncertainty as to who's going to beat who. So I hope they will be able to take this one away. And as you said earlier, Tom, they are going to go up against AMG soon, and that will decide who is the very bottomest of the bottom, or at the very least who can maybe begin their comeback into the middle part of this one.
Well, currently the people at the bottom are the people at the bottom of the login queue, which is over 20k currently, and it keeps going up actually instead of going down.
It's the Sunday, dude. No one's got anything to do today.
Yeah, it keeps going from 14k to 0, then to 15k to 0. So we're going to see how many thousands they can stack on before the small indie company gets a hold of their stuff.
You climb, by the way.
Absolutely. I guess we can keep talking for as long as we want, but if anything...
I was going to say, I cannot wait for the new client, man. I hope that fixes things, because it has been a mess recently, but yeah, we hope to get Mammal back in. He says he's currently stuck in a time loop, so I guess he has suspended himself in a place between time and space, and currently rolling around in a spirit dimension that mere mortal humans simply cannot imagine or fathom. So it will be interesting. Maybe he comes out and he's completely ascended God mind, or he never comes out.
Player,
yeah, he comes out and he's suddenly a challenger, and he somehow manages to play every champion as well as he plays Braum. We may have that, or we may just never have him. We have no idea.
He may just never return ever again. He'll just disappear off the face of the earth.
Goodbye, Mammal.
F, you had a good run, mate.
Yeah, F Mammal. Lived a long and happy life, but now you're just stuck in queue. Good night.
Killed by TFT.
F in the chat.
Another.
F in the chat. F for Mammal. Everyone who has access to the Discord server, please @ Mammal with a capital F if possible.
And an exclamation mark.
And an exclamation mark. Just hit him with a fat F. He needs to know that we all respect him and we all wait for him, as we are still, yes, suspended and waiting. And I did say, yeah, about the fussy players, because there's definitely a lot of faces that I don't recognize, but from having personal relations and knowing a few of these players, I know that Kalle specifically is fairly well respected in the Danish amateur league scene at lower levels. He's got quite a bit of experience actually playing on a few different teams and playing with a few players that I also know of, and a few different supports who've kind of been speaking out about him, and he seems like he's a really, really good player with a very, very deep talent pool. Or not talent pool, champion pool, and has the ability to kind of adapt to a lot of situations and even with having a substitute support. He seems like he's confident enough to pick up champions like Lucian, who are kind of all in your face, go in, pew pew ish champs, and still like try to show up instead of just picking something like Ashe and sitting back and doing nothing.
And the drama doesn't stop. The queue is. What was that?
Bruh.
I'm expressing my feelings right now towards having a giant queue time for the one player whose client crashed, and again we'll have to wait. It will be a while, but definitely starting to glue together with my chair at the moment.
Yeah, I'm slowly merging into a single entity with my setup, but
anytime you're at the risk of falling asleep, we'll just go into a quick 5 to 10 minute pause, or regardless of how long it takes. But for now, I guess the best thing to talk about on a League of Legends stream is there any other games you're looking forward to playing this year?
Oh yes, I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna advertise a game that I think everyone needs to be looking forward to.
Does it have a good client? Does it have a login queue?
It had completely boomed servers in the alpha that came out, but they fixed that in like a few hours.
All right, so it's about World of Warcraft. Next topic. You have another game?
No, but actually, I genuinely want to recommend it because I really think it's a good game. It comes out next year's new Ubisoft game, Roller Champions, basically Rocket League 2.0. It's just like roller derby with a goal, but it's really fun, really simple game. I recommend everyone go check it out, find some gameplay. Very, very fun game. Can highly recommend it.
Bruh.
Also, someone asked for a bruh in chat, so they get that.
Can I get a bruh?
I am a man of the people. I aim to please. Don't have many other sound effects, but bruh works out most of the time.
it's usually the response just to any given situation. You can just throw it out.
Yeah, just throw out a bruh. No one's gonna... Another brother, I swear to God.
Brother.
But yeah, we need don't know, we haven't had an update from Mammal in a while, but we can assume that he is still quite far away. Things will happen slowly but surely. Tom, do you have any games you wanted to talk about? Anything you're looking forward to play?
Today I'm here to talk about our Lord and Savior, old school RuneScape.
Oh yes.
Oh, damn, dude. My brother's
Actually,
got
I'll take a discussion with you here, Tom. I'm more of an RS3 type of guy. Can you explain to me why OSRS is better?
I don't think it needs an explanation, but just because you asked nicely, pretty much the thing that draws people to OSRS, or that's like abbreviation for old school RuneScape, is partly nostalgia because you played it back in the day, and also the fact that pretty much RuneScape never really had expansions as WoW did, but the game was ever evolving, and at some point it evolves to a point where you don't enjoy it anymore, or it's really just not what you thought it was, or you just lose touch with the game, and you go back a couple of years and you find yourself enjoy it quite a lot actually. Game has a lot of aspects to it. You can play it any way you want. There's no rules really, other than like the forces of nature, I suppose. You can try hard it. You can sit back and relax. And
Like, yeah,
it doesn't have a login queue like US.
also that RuneScape, I've never experienced the login queue on RuneScape, but I feel like RS3 is just, to me, because trust me, I've played RuneScape since like almost the release of RS. What did they call it back then? Not classic, but the thing that came after. I don't even remember what they called it on release.
After classic, it was RuneScape 2.
The one where it actually turned 3D.
Yeah, RuneScape 2.
Yeah, okay. I used to play RS2. Like, it wasn't immediately after release, but it was like around there. I think I was like max 7 or 8 years old when I played it, and returning to the game a long time later, I never had the nostalgic tie-in of OSRS. I didn't really understand why people were so hyped for OSRS, but I respected that a lot of people like playing it and enjoyed it. But that was beside me. I just enjoyed RS3 more because I liked the continuous evolving of the game and new features being added, and there was a bunch of stuff I didn't understand, like invention and shit, that I just didn't focus on. I didn't care. So I focused on the elements of the game that I still found. But then I feel like, I mean, there's a little bit of everything for everyone in both old school RuneScape and RS3. So yeah, if you have any nostalgic times with RuneScape, go play RuneScape right now. League Q's fucked up anyway. You won't get to play League of Legends. Just go play RuneScape.
EQ sponsored by old school RuneScape.
Yes,
but yeah,
sponsored.
just a disclaimer. Not here to trash talk any games, but the makers of old school RuneScape, Jagex, they are just as in touch with the community as Riot Games says. There might not be a login queue, but you might log in one day and everything you had is gone. So I will in no way be responsible for anything you lose, whether it be time or items in the game. But definitely go pay $13.
I just heard the car in the background. I don't know, that got me. I like that. Fucking hell. I don't know why. Sorry, that got to me. I'm sorry. I'm tired. The fucking car got to me. But yeah, RuneScape is a good game. Highly recommend it. Also, I can plug multiple things. You can subscribe today with Twitch Prime. You can get Twitch Prime. You can subscribe to a streamer that you like. I can highly recommend twitch.tv/EQ League. Or if you're feeling frisky, I can recommend twitch.tv/John J, but you didn't hear that. And then with your Twitch Prime subscription, you can get an entire free month of membership on old school RuneScape and RS3 at the same time. So you can enjoy both experiences with full access to everything for an entire month. Highly recommended. Did it myself.
Yeah.
Got me back into the game.
That's crazy.
Also, you get to subscribe on Twitch, which is always good. Can never go wrong with a Twitch subscription.
Get yourself a beautiful EQ emote to spam in all the other lesser amateur leagues. Just go to chat for the EQ emote.
There's nothing better. I can't imagine. Actually, no, I don't have a Twitch Prime sub yet. Damn. I was gonna say subbing to the league's Twitch right now would have been a great way for me to end that plug, but I don't have one until like 2 weeks.
I think having to end, the only way to end anything right here is going to be probably to end the stream in a while, because it doesn't seem like the login queue is getting resolved whatsoever.
No, nothing seems to be happening.
As long as there's no announcement on the website and there's nothing being done about it concretely, the timer will just keep going up.
Yeah, it seems, because I was going to say, I just ran into my Twitter real quick, and everything is... Oh wait, I think solo queues just went down. I've been told through Twitter that solo queue has gone down, so you cannot play ranked. Man, I was planning to spam solo queue tonight. That's put a wrench in my plans.
The whole system's crumbling around us right now.
The entire client has just completely... I mean, you guys... I mean, the people wanted auto chess in League of Legends. This is what you get. This is what you need to pay for now. Have your auto chess, but also the client goes boom.
I mean, everything that needs to be said about teamfight tactics breaking the client has been said in the past already.
Yeah, I mean, sometime... let me see another tweet here. Disable solo queues so more people can play TFT. I mean, I think that's what they've done. They've disabled solo queue to let more people into TFT because the servers can only handle so many players queuing up for any game mode.
That's smart, dude. That's smart. They know where the real money is now.
Yeah, the real money when you can... You don't even get anything from playing TFT. Actually, this is going to be so boom because they're adding XP rewards and shit tomorrow to TFT.
Alright, well, I'm going to be in a quick contact with the members of the next streamed game that would be on the schedule. See if they are all actually logged in and not stuck in the queue. If that's the case, we might be able to move things forward. Otherwise, we will be getting rid of the stream soon because it's not getting resolved anytime soon, it seems like. But I'll have an update for you guys in that in just a couple minutes.
Perfect. So what do we do until then? I'm assuming Tom's just gonna do that. Do we keep talking? Do we mute? Do I go for a cup of water?
You know what? Go for a cup of water.
We're in a situation where everyone's leaving the lobby, so I'm gonna go get some water. In the meantime, I don't know. I have nothing else to say. I'll just...
Bruh.
And then go for water.
Absolutely.
Just bruh. Just throw it out. Drop a bruh and walk out.
You know,
Respect it.
it's the forces of nature being against us here. Riot, purposely screwing up our stream. I know they love us very much. But we will be back in a couple minutes. Going to see if we can change around the schedule a tiny bit. And otherwise, we'll be back with an update.
Bruh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, the entire server has burnt down pretty much. It's on lockdown, no one can get in. So as a result, we've had to pause and reschedule all the games. So for today, this is the end of the stream. I'm not sure exactly when the rescheduled games will be played, if they will be streamed. We're going to have to figure that out first. But we should be back next week on Sunday at the regular time for another stream. So thanks for stopping by. Sorry for the early end, but out of my control, unfortunately. And delete teamfight tactics, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.